Hi, welcome to today's meditation. I am Anthony Westbrook. Thank you for joining me. Recently, I witnessed a beautiful thing while standing in line at an amusement park, and it reminded me of the work that we do alongside patients each and every day. My wife and I went away to Williamsburg, Virginia for the weekend. That Saturday, we spent the day at Busch Gardens theme park. My wife and I like to ride roller coasters, and that Saturday night, we were standing in line waiting to ride the Loch Ness Monster. For those of you who don't know, the Loch Ness Monster is one of the oldest and most beloved roller coasters at Busch Gardens. It starts out with a great big drop, features 2 different loops that go upside down, and even includes a pitch-dark tunnel that spirals around and around and around. And it is especially fun to ride at night, because the roller coaster itself is set within the forest. All that goes to say that Saturday night, my wife and I were standing in line to ride the Loch Ness Monster. At this point, we had progressed through the line, and only about 4 people were ahead of us in our particular lane. About that time, we spied across the platform a young man sitting in an automated wheelchair. Next to him was standing an able-bodied buddy. I'm guessing that the young man in the wheelchair was probably in his late teens, and I would guess the same age for his friend. His friend was wearing a Powhatan football t-shirt, and I know from my time living in Virginia that is a high school located just west of Richmond. About that time, the next roller coaster train rolled into the station. That's when the passengers who had just ridden disembarked, and the new passengers prepared to board. As they did so, the young man wearing the Powhatan football t-shirt reached down and took into his arms the body of his buddy sitting in the wheelchair. In his arms, he then carried him across the platform and up to the front row of the first car of the roller coaster. There, he gently placed his buddy into the front seat, and then he himself sat down in the passenger seat next to him. A park attendant strapped them both in. Moments later, the roller coaster zoomed off, carrying the 2 young men and another train full of adventure seekers onto the Loch Ness Monster. A few minutes later, that same train returned to the station, and by this time, my wife and I were next in line to ride. As we waited our turn, we watched the young man wearing the Powhatan football t-shirt lift his buddy out of the front seat of the roller coaster. In his arms, he once again carried him across the platform and back to the awaiting wheelchair, carefully setting him in its seat. The whole event was a beautiful thing, and as I reflected on it, I thought about the 2 individuals. First, the able-bodied young man. Whether the wheelchair-bound teen was his buddy or his brother, he showed great tenderness, compassion, and patience, accompanying him through a bustling theme park on a Saturday night. And then the wheelchair-bound teenager. What great spirit, tenacity, and humility he showed, not letting his cerebral palsy keep him from riding a roller coaster, not letting his pride prevent his limp body from being carried across a public platform by his peer. It was a beautiful sight that Saturday night at Busch Gardens, and it is a beautiful sight here in this hospital each and every day. As families and staff assist patients, and as patients show a tenacity to keep living life despite the setbacks that life has dealt them. So today, let us keep our eyes open to the patients, their families, and the staff, and the not-so-little acts of love that unfold between them.